Stuart's my favorite customer. He comes into the Westlake store every single day with his teacup chihuahua named Daisy. He gets 6 chocolate chip cookies, and sometimes he'll switch it up with a snickerdoodle or a sugar, just, you know, he gets adventurous. The cookies are for his wife who's ill. We used to think they were for him, but every day that he comes in, he reveals a little more of his story. The fact that he comes out every single day to get her these cookies because they're one of the only things that she enjoys to eat, I think is really sweet.
A few years ago, I took a phone call from a woman who wanted to send some cookies to her boss. She worked for a small company and they were really close, and he was always doing nice things for her, and so she wanted to kind of give back. She also told me that his mom had recently passed away, and when he was a little kid, she would always bake him cookies on days that it would rain, so he could come home from school to a nice warm treat. And this was the first day that it had rained since she passed away. So she sent the cookies, and I always wanted to know what happened after that, but it's my favorite order I've ever taken at Tiff's Treats.
Last year on Valentine's Day, there was a gentleman that came into Tiff's Treats and bought 6 of our chocolate-covered strawberries. He got an engagement ring and he put the ring inside of our box. And later that night, he gave the box of chocolate-covered strawberries and the engagement ring to his girlfriend. And we found out about the engagement later that night on social media. I love that story. That story reminds me a whole lot of myself and my wife, Natalie. We met one day and we hit it off. We had a great time, but I never got her number and I never knew if I was going to see her again. And she had no idea that I worked at Tiff's Treats. The next day, she ordered a dozen cookies for herself, and I happened to be the delivery driver. So I knocked on the door and Natalie opened up the door. His makeup wasn't on and just completely startled of the situation. So a few seconds later, she opened the door again, kind of peered out, realized that I was the man that she met the night before. And at that point, she got her cookies, left me a great tip, and she gave me the guns and said, well, now you have my number. Why don't you call me sometime? So my engagement story did not start off with 6 chocolate-covered strawberries, but we did get engaged in San Diego, watching the sunset, whenever I asked her to live the rest of her life with me.
And he got the ring out, and before I said yes, I tried to grab at the ring and put it on my finger, and then realized I hadn't said yes yet. And then gave it back to him and said yes, and then he put it on my finger.
The best wedding present we got was the receipt from that one delivery that I took to Natalie the day after we had first met. It was the receipt with the great tip, and it was the gift from the 2 founders of Tiff's Treats at the time.